everyone, and welcome to this new quarantine-styled or inspired show called Hangin with Herb. It's going to be a time where we'll hang out and have candid conversations with some of my valued friends. Today, I welcome a good friend who was drafted in the first round in the NBA in 1983, spent 12 years with the Dallas Mavericks, 16 years total in the league, and most recently, the Mavericks retired his jersey. So I want to welcome my good friend, good old number 12, Derek Harper.
What's going on, Herb?
Not much, man. I'm just trying this thing out, man, and just want to talk to some people that I know, and I know people want to get to know you off the court and some other things. So then we'll just talk about some of that. First of all, let's talk about us. Me and you, I met you, well, I came to know you first because I was a diehard Laker fan back in the day. And I came to know you as a Maverick, and the games, the tough games between the Lakers and the Mavs. And I remember one of the moments where you dribbled out the clock. I remember that. I didn't know you. I remember that stuck out in my mind because I was a diehard Laker fan. And then we moved here to Dallas, and we attended and went to Covenant Church and the AHA.
Right.
That's where we kind of came into.
Yeah, where our kids went to school. Our kids went to school there, actually.
Absolutely. And the thing about that, before your kids actually came, you were in Orlando and playing with Magic. And I have a vivid memory of seeing the news. And when they splashed on there that Derek Harper's daughter had fell into the pool. I know that's a bad memory. I vividly remember that. Didn't know you at all at that time. But boy, something hit me inside about that. And I just went into deep prayer about that and just was worried. They updated. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know, it's funny you say, you bring that up, but the funny thing about it is you said you went into deep prayer. And at the time, it was a helpless situation. You know, your child, the doctors are telling you that your child may or may not make it. They're throwing their hands up, not really knowing what the outcome is going to be. But Ernie Johnson, obviously everybody knows Ernie from TNT.
Yes.
He got whiffed of it. And he sent out prayers. He was on national TV at the time. He sends out, please pray for Derek Harper's daughter. She was in a swimming pool accident. And believe it or not, Herb, you said prayer before we got to this. That's what saved her life, is all of the prayers that went up. I believe in the power of prayer. And if you get millions and millions of people praying for something, good, different, or whatever the case might be, God will move. And he moved in that situation. And I thank Ernie every time I see him for putting that out there. You don't know what to do. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. You're in a helpless situation. And a lot of times, unfortunately, when we're in that kind of a situation, is when we turn to the Lord and we ask for prayer and we humble ourselves to hear God's voice and just to give him the attention that he needs to move in your life. And it was a surreal moment. My daughter loves to swim. As you know, she spends a lot of time in the pool right now, so it didn't affect her. And the problem with it all at the time, Herb, is that I learned if you're in the pool drowning, if you're in the pool for more than 60 seconds, supposedly you're brain dead from there. So there can be a lot of negative complications.
Right.
Even if you survive it. Or you can go the extreme opposite. Or you're going to be super bright as an individual. And thank God Daria took the other route. And things are well, man. Things are all well with her. I give God the praise and the glory all the time for it.
That's a blessing. I know she's in school now in New York.
Yep. Well, she's in Chicago right now. I got her out of New York.
Right.
Right in the nick of time, and all due respect to what's going on in New York.
Yes.
It's a tragic moment right now all over the world.
Yes, sir, it is. I can remember back at AHA when our kids attended there, I was a coach. And I can remember I was the varsity head basketball coach, and I
Hmm.
reached out to you several times to help, and you always were there to give
Absolutely.
to give financial help. You helped us financially to go to a basketball tournament in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Just helped. I mean, I had my Slam and Jam basketball summer tournament. You would always come
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just share, talk.
Herb, listen, Herb, and let me interject this. In
Okay.
spite of you having that hat on, I really like you. I really do. Let's take that to the bank, okay?
Well, I mean, I really appreciate the heart you have. I have one
Yeah,
other thing about us. You probably have forgotten this time, maybe not, but it made a big impression in my heart. We used to go every Christmas to feed the hungry and the
yeah,
homeless, and I made you aware of it, and you got up Christmas with your family, met my
yeah.
family downtown Dallas, and we're there shaking hands and talking and laughing with homeless people as we
Uh-huh.
were feeding them with the Big
Yeah.
Heart Ministries. You remember that?
I remember like it was yesterday, Herb, and you actually started something. Well, Sheila, my ex-wife, actually, we did it prior to the Big Heart deal. But
Okay.
I certainly remember the time that you invited me and had such a good time. It was something that I tried to put on my schedule all the time. And, unfortunately, we did, not unfortunately, but we did it on Christmas. But it doesn't have to be a special occasion, man, when you
Right.
think about it, to
Right.
go and serve somebody else. God gave his only begotten son for us, right?
All right.
So I think that's how you're judged in a lot of ways, Herb, is what you give back, not so much what you receive. Obviously, we get a lot out of life. I've had some bonuses in my life over and over again. So that was an easy call, man, on that one. And I just appreciate your heart and your heart to serve more than anything, because you serve. I know you very well, and you serve all over the place, man. You deserve a lot of credit for the way you approach things, man. I really have a lot of respect for getting that invitation to that little Christmas morning.
Yes, I appreciate it, man. Let me tell you, let's pivot. You know about pivoting, right? Have you ever? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's pivot to talk a little bit about you. Why don't you
Hmm.
talk to us a little bit about? Just tell us. Start back from birth in high school, college, bro. Give us a little,
you have
a little.
you have that much time?
Oh yeah, I mean just a
I yeah, I
capsule.
grew up in West. Yeah, I was born in Elberton, Georgia. Spent probably 2 months there. My mother and my stepfather moved from there to West Palm Beach, where I was raised. I have 9 brothers and sisters, a very large family. Um, grew up like most people. You see a ball, you wanna entertain that ball, whether it's a baseball, a basketball, a football, even a tennis ball. When it comes to me, a golf ball, those things, I can do a lot of different things. And I don't mean to brag. Don't misunderstand. I was God bless talent.
Amen.
But moving right along, moving right along, man. Like I said, I grew up in the projects, grew up in a tough neighborhood. And at one juncture in my life, I started thinking about what I was going to be, what I wanted to be. When you're in elementary school, there's always a question: what are you going to do when you grow up? What do you want to be when you're up? It was always associated. Ball was always associated with what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Started off in junior high school, playing elementary, junior high, playing a lot of football, and realized that that was a very physical game that will leave you unconscious sometimes, paralyzed sometimes, all of the above. So I kind of
Yeah.
moved away from that, from elementary to junior high. I focused on basketball, obviously, in junior high school. And things just started to come together, man. I mean, you know as well as I know, if you're going to be successful in anything, man, you got to put the work in. So one thing I could afford was a basketball. And I had a rim right outside of my house in the projects. And man, I lived out there. I'll be honest with you. There was glass all over the court. We used to actually sweep and kick the glass off the floor, off the court outside,
Right.
just to get on that court, man. And I found my passion when I picked up a basketball. My mother used to send me to the grocery store, And before I would go, I would grab my basketball. And there I am, running down the street, running to the store with my basketball. It was like my best friend, my basketball was. And it turned into a basketball career, man. I was fortunate enough to go to a nice high school, North Shore High School, won a state championship in 1980, earned myself a scholarship to the University of Illinois. After my high school year, should have gone to North Carolina. I say that in a joking way because, you know, it's a prestigious university. Illinois is a great university. Actually, I just got inducted to the Illinois Hall of Fame this week.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. And, you know, that basketball, man, I tell people all the time, man, if you don't allow the ball to use you,
yes,
and you use it, it can build you a life, man. It can take you anywhere that you want to go. It's taken me everywhere in this world. I've been all over the world, and I give basketball all the credit because I picked it up. I don't know if you can master basketball. You can be really good, but mastering anything, you know as well as I do, it's very difficult to do. But I had a long career, man. College, met my my ex-wife there. Sheila had 3 beautiful kids. Out of that, it was surreal, to be honest with you. After picking up the basketball, it was really, things really start to turn in my favor. High school All-American, college All-American. You know, played. You mentioned earlier, 16 years in the league, and that's been my journey, man. It's simple and plain. And a lot of people, I think, you know, they think you should try to be more than a basketball player, and I agree with that to a certain extent. But I'm still in the game. I'm still working because of basketball. And one thing I'll give you here is that you have to know, first of all, you have to find your niche.
right.
Then you have to try to be as good as you can once you find that niche. And you have to stay the course and dedicate yourself, man. And you can be successful. It's just that simple. And I tell everybody, man, if I made it from where I'm from, anybody can make it. I really feel like that because, you know, when you come from nothing, you have a big family. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you start talking about having that big family. You were talking earlier about sharing time and sharing, you know, moments with different people, doing for others, giving to others. I think you learn that being in a large family. And again, I was able to do a lot of good, man, just because of my upbringing, because of where things started as far as sports are concerned for me. And I feel very fortunate. I feel blessed and highly favored when it comes to my start to now.
Tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now in the game.
Oh, I work as a television analyst. I do color for the Dallas Mavericks. I've been in the TV industry for over close to 30 years after retirement in some capacity. Something that I love, I'll tell you a quick story. I have 3 brothers, and I'm not kidding you. We used to sit on the pool and try and be commentators. You know, we used to try, my brothers love the Lakers just like you. My brother Ricky, he used to try to call games. We would interview each other throughout the games. And it's so ironic. Tim Kiley is an executive producer for TNT. I know you remember when they used to have players in during the season. They used to have players in, and they would have them on the set to talk about games, talk about the season, your respective team. Yep. Well, I got an invite to that one year. And I impressed Tim Kiley enough for him to pull me to the side and tell me, Derek, I don't know what you want to do after you're done playing, because I was still in the prime of my career at that particular time. But I think you can do this. This is something that you might want to try doing moving forward. Kept that little nugget in the back of my head. And lo and behold, got opportunity after opportunity, man. And it's I've been around it for a long time. And I mean, I'm a believer, just like you are. And I just think that God, some things are destined for you. And I think that the TV part, even though I have a radio face, TV has been good for me.
I was going to say that, but I'm glad you brought it.
It's a joke, man. It's a joke.
Hey, all right, I'm going to do some rapid fire. I'll ask some questions, and you give me some rapid fire answers back.
You got it, brother.
All right, early in life, as you were coming up, did you play? Was there AAU or anything like that?
Sure did. Played it.
Okay. All right, good, good. So coming up, tell me who were some of the best players that you played with at that early life that really were really good.
Um, Quite a few guys. You know, as far as AAU is concerned, I don't know if you remember Sidney Lowe,
Oh, yeah.
played at North, Derek Wittenberg.
Yes.
When I was getting ready to start my first year in college, my first year in high school, I was in the 8th grade. They came from DC. Those guys are went to DeMatha, Thurl Bailey.
Thorough, yeah.
These guys came to Florida, down in Boca Raton. They had a big AAU tournament there. In fact, Magic Johnson was down there as well.
Okay.
Not as a player, but just as a spectator, watching some of the guys from the Michigan area there. But those are some of the guys, man, that I started out with and competed against at an early age, and was able to learn something from them, grow from them. They were really talented guys, had great teams, man. And you know as well as I know, the best players aren't necessarily in the NBA and played in the NBA and went to major colleges and things of that nature, because there's a lot of talent, man. You can go to New York City and see playground legends out there, man, at an early age, and they'll blow you away with their ability to play basketball. So there are a lot of guys, but those particular guys, Sidney Moncrief, Derek Wittenberg, the Carolina group that won that Hail Mary championship with Jim Valvano, I remember those guys in particular because they were kind of household names when I was growing up in the 8th, 9th grade.
When did you, at like what age or what grade did you realize that you were better than most? That you kind of were a little, you had this gift.
You know what, Herb? I'm going to be honest with you, man. I told you I played all sports, and my first love is football. I played quarterback, wide receiver in football when I was in elementary and junior high school, because back then you played whatever season it was.
Right.
That's what we were doing as kids. We played baseball. We ran track. We did everything when I was growing up down in Florida. And like I said a few minutes ago, my first love was football. And Miami Dolphins were the only undefeated team. When they had Bob Greasy, golly, who else was on that team? Not Nick Bonnie, Larry Zonka, Jim Kidd.
Yep.
All of those guys.
Yep.
Yeah. When those guys were in their heyday, I was playing football and thought that I was going to be in the NFL at that particular time. Until I started getting knocked around, like I said, thinking that you're knocked out because somebody's turned your helmet all the way around, and you're looking here and you're seeing darkness, like it's black outside. Okay, that's what changed my mind about football. So then I got into basketball, and I would say my freshman year, because I spent, after my 8th grade year, my high school coach, Floyd Andrews, started kind of approaching me about going to school out of district. And this wasn't legal at the time, I don't think. I mean, it wasn't a big deal at the time. But he started recruiting me out of my district.
Okay.
So this guy started talking to me about how good he thought I was, saw a couple of my games when I was in the 7th and 8th grade, started pushing me, challenging me to spend time working on my game. All of my games, shooting, dribbling, passing, staying in condition, all of the things that it takes to be successful. So I get to North Shore High School my freshman year, and I was playing against an All-American, Daryl Mitchell. You can YouTube him or Google him. Had a great high school, college career. Went to Minnesota in the Big Ten. But when I got to him and started to compete against him, I started to have success against him. And there were colleges coming from all over the country to see this guy when he was a sophomore. I was just a freshman. So he kind of paved the way for me. But when you start playing against the best and you have success against them, I think that's when you start to think that, hey, I belong. I can do this. I can do this. This guy's being recruited by Duke, North Carolina, UNLV, you name it. They were there to watch Daryl Mitchell play. So I figure if I can take this dude and have a little success against him, then I got to be pretty damn good. And after that, you just start to know that in order to, because the competition just gets better as you progress.
Yep.
We know that. So if you want to be considered one of the best, man, you have to go to work. And I went to work on my game morning, noon, and night. You know, there were a lot of people hanging out at the dances and going to places to have a good time. I'm not lying to you. I missed a lot of that because basketball was what I got up doing. Basketball was what I did in the afternoon. I used to watch the NBA on CBS. Oscar Robertson, Walt Frazier, Jerry West, all of these people. I used to draw my number, their number, each one, every other day. I would put number one, the big O, Oscar Robertson. And I would watch those guys play, and I would go out and try and emulate what they were doing. Walt Frazier, my favorite guard of all times, because he was so cool on the pressure, on the floor. You know, Clyde never showed emotion. I was the exact opposite. I let one out on my sleeve, but he would just those guys. Jerry West, the same thing. I'll never forget her. I'll tell you a quick story. I met all of those guys at an All-American game.
Okay.
And when I tell you Simcoe All-American game, when I tell you, man, it was the biggest highlight of my life to be on an elevator with Walt Frazier, Wilt Chamberlain, and Oscar Robertson. I mean, it was a surreal moment in my life to be around those guys. And I felt like I knew them because I'd watched so much NBA basketball as a kid. I mean, my stepfather used to sit me down and talk about this guy, talk about that guy. And when I got around those guys, when I rubbed shoulders with all of that, I'm like, man, I can get here. I can make it. I can be successful as a professional basketball player. You know, this is starting my high school year. My freshman year in high school. So I really honed in on trying to get better, man. And it just came to fruition, man. You know, my coach used to always say, my high school coach used to always say, the cream will come to the top, meaning that if you don't allow somebody to outwork you, you're gonna be right there at the end. And I held on to that throughout my life, throughout my career, and just worked my butt off, man. And things came to fruition. Like I said, it happened for me. So I feel very fortunate.
Let's ask a couple of favorite questions. Favorites. Favorite teammate.
Favorite teammate is probably shucks. Let me think about that for one second. Mark McGuire, because and I guess you're talking about NBA. I've had some. It's Mark McGuire, no question about it. Mainly because I was his rookie coming into the NBA, and the guy treated me like a rookie most of the time, but took care of me. You know, showed me the ropes, showed me how to work. You know, Roe, Brad, same thing with those guys, but it was something about Mark and I that kind of clicked. We kind of got together really early. He used to give me his car to drive around. I didn't have a car coming into the NBA yet. And I stayed with Mark for a long time, getting ready for training camp and things like that. And I also think he made all of us because he was the best player. When I got to the Mavericks, Mark was by far better than everybody, skill-wise and just ability-wise. Doesn't get nearly the credit he deserves because there are a lot of guys that's going into the Hall of Fame, and you have to figure most of them deserve it. But if some of these guys are in the NBA Hall of Fame, Mark McGuire should be there too. His career average is 20 points. Same as Dirk Nowitzki, and a lot of people wouldn't believe that. You would think that if you compare those two, that Dirk had such a better scoring career than Mark, and Dirk is great. You understand what I'm saying? First ballot Hall of Famer. But I think Mark, for whatever reason, was just scrutinized a little bit to the point where I don't think he gets his full due as a player.
Right. What about favorite road city?
New York. It's the Mecca. It's the Mecca of the NBA. Everybody knows everything. Everybody from New York knows everything, of course. But I always enjoy it. They say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yes.
And, you know, I've always dreamed of playing in Madison Square Garden, man. Nothing like New York, New York. Big city of dream, man, is what they say. and I got an opportunity to play there for 3 years, and it was all that and more. I'll just say that. Love going to New York. Wouldn't want to live there, Herb,
Right.
but visiting and being around the energy that's there, second to none.
What about the the best and worst ref that you encountered during your NBA time?
Man, you gotta really. I'm glad we're doing this now that
This
I've
is
been
post.
retired
Yeah,
for
this is post.
50
Yeah,
years. Yeah. I won't say worse.
you don't
I'll
have
say
to
a
say worse.
referee.
Let's try what.
You know what I'll say, Herb? I will say the person that I had the most problem with was Bob Delaney. Bob Delaney was a guy, a referee, really, really cocky, arrogant referee. I'll say it now. From the New Jersey tri-state area. So they have a knack for being tough as people, not just officials. But for whatever reason, this guy didn't like the way I straightened my tennis shoes up, I guess, man, because
He was on.
he was on me. I got most of my texts came from Bob Delaney. And we see each other now, and it's like, hey, Hart. I'm like, man, do you remember? He said, yeah, Derek, I remember giving you such a hard time as a player. I said, I remember it like it was yesterday. And my favorite that I thought was fair is Jake O'Donnell. I thought Jake O'Donnell was probably one of the best officials that's ever been in the NBA. Always in position, Herb, always being fair. And as a player, that's all you ask for, man, is that as an official give you a fair shot at what you're doing. The game has changed so much. That's why I think it's ludicrous for people to try to compare different players. It's a whole different league now and then. You can't touch people now. You know, I made a living being physical at that point guard position. I found out now, Herb.
You would.
Because if you put a hand on the guy, the whistle blows on you. And I thought Jake O'Donnell, through everything, would have been able to handle the league back in the good old days. And I think he would be able to handle the NBA right now as an official.
Good. Give me your Mount Rushmore of players. Your top four. Your Mount Rushmore.
So it's just 4 guys you want?
Just 4. Top 4.
Just 4 guys. Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. I mean, you're talking Mount Rushmore. You're gonna leave a lot of people off.
Yeah.
I got to go with the GOAT. They say Michael Jordan would be the 3rd guy. And number to me, man, this is tough. You know, I'm old school, Herb, and I have Mike in there. He played in my era. So for my 4th guy, and this is crazy, man, I'm going to say Hakeem Olajuwon.
Wow.
Yeah, who I just think was one of the most incredible bigs that I've ever seen in my life. I lost to the Rockets with him on that team. And I don't know if you know her, but he was a soccer player growing up.
Didn't know.
And most soccer players have good footwork. And man, Hakeem Olajuwon would put you in a blender on that block and push mix on it, and you were helpless. There was absolutely nothing you could do. And that, somebody's going to pick a different 4. It's very difficult to do. The reason you pick a guy like Wilt is because of, scored 100 points, 50 rebounds in games. I mean, just the most dominant specimen there ever was.
Right.
I'm leaving off Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
The captain.
You know what I mean? I'm leaving off some great players and some guys that had great careers. But how do you pick 4 guys? You pick a guy like Bill Russell because he won more than anybody in the history of basketball. And I'm not saying just one game, won championships. Right. So you got to pick Bill Russell. You go to Michael Jordan because he's the supposedly greatest ever. 6 championships, back-to-back-to-back championships, 2 consecutive times, led the NBA in scoring, had everybody except me afraid of him. It was, and I'm going Olajuwon off the cusp a little bit because I just think in his era, he was as dominant as any of those other 3 guys that I chose.
Well, Derek, I really appreciate spending some time with you, man. I learned a whole lot
Yes.
learned a whole lot about you. I knew a lot, but I learned more today.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I want to just thank you for spending some time with us today. And in closing,
Anytime, Herb.
I want to honor my parents, Lee and Cree,
Uh-huh.
and I want to encourage us all to unite and just give someone a smile. And
Yes.
so with that, I'm gonna say,
This too shall pass too, Herb. We're in tough times right now.
yes, sir.
I know you're a believer, and I'm a
Yes,
believer.
I am.
And I'm not looking to the left, the right, the front, or behind me. I'm looking up because that's where it's going to change. God has to come down and change what's going on in this world right now. And trust me, he'll have the last word.
Amen. So I say Zakomo to you, which is
Okay, brother.
thank you in Zambian. So have a great day, and I appreciate
I know you're a well-traveled man. I like that.
Well-traveled. You have a great
brother.
day, brother, and I appreciate you.
Too. Going to the golf course.
All right.
Okay, Herb.
See you, buddy.
Hanging with her.